Okay, let us just slow this up. Okay, welcome everyone. Jira Bro back with the another video. Well, the time for wait is actually over because what we are having in front of ourselves is indeed a new Jira UI navigation. A lot of stuff actually has been changing in here, as you can see. Well, first of all, what we are actually noticing in here, we're not having this top nav bar anymore. So that is nothing there. Instead, we're having a search bar that we can actually use. It didn't change pretty much for the create button. What we actually are having is, as you can see, it's not changed to the work terminology. It's still being defined as the issue type. But these icons definitely have changed. So yeah, the another thing that we're actually having in here for the projects in here, the option to actually create the projects themselves is actually located right here. So when you go to the create a project, you're actually navigated to create it, and also there are options for the templates as well. So as we can actually see on the left side, what we're having is my work. This didn't actually change that much. It's all the same like your work that you're having right now. For recent as well, there are no really a lot of changes in here. I also have the assign to me, start, boards, and everything else. So everything that basically you're starting here. So if I'm gonna start this, for example, this board, then this board is going to be start. Now I don't know why is it saying 404. It's not actually that really correct. Okay, something did happen in there because I'm actually using the loom to record all of this. So for your project, you also have this plus button right here that leads you to actually create your projects, which is something that you have in here. If I click on create right here, now this is the thing that was added in here was this plus, and this actually might be confusing. Why? Because when you click on create with a plus, it usually gets your drop down. It's like this in the Confluence itself. So when you click on create, you have the option to either create a page, to either create a space, to create a blog, to create some of the databases, and so much and so forth. Okay, when we actually click on the applications themselves, and when we actually click on to explore more of the apps, the good thing is it's not now opened in the new tab where you're actually browsing through all of the apps. You can do this within one page. Plans, of course, are available with the Jira Premium. So this right here is still not the Jira Premium. All right. Okay. So that was a temporary box. So this is how your projects are gonna look like. Okay. So when it's saying that you have recent, the good thing is you're going to have your top 3 projects that you have visited the most. And this is cool because you can navigate between them more easily. Now, let's talk about this whole navigation here on what is going on. So, this whole navigation is actually being applied from the Jira business projects. So now the complete merging of Jira Work Management with Jira is actually there. So of course it starts with the summaries. Yet I don't have anything in here. So this is the change, and as you can see, this is like the new icon for the subtasks as well. Option for the timeline didn't really change that much. The object for the board saying new Jira UI. So I can create it from here. There's also option to actually assign this to myself. This is how I can actually do this. There is also an option to change the status from in progress to done. But one thing that I want you to know, that this is the team managed project. This is not like the company managed project. So we're still looking at the team managed. Creating of the issue basically is the same. Nothing has really changed in there. Right, so for configuring your board, you're gonna go all the way on the right side, where you also have the option to start a stand-up. In the older UI, you would actually have a button that you actually click and have the start stand-up. You also have the option to manage the workflow, manage custom filters, and configure the board. Basically, that is all the same. Now, also for the lists part, basically, yeah, everything is the same there. You can add your columns, you can remove the columns that you don't need. Forms are also the same. Goals is something that is also part, but this needs actually to be created from your Atlassian home. And when you actually create this from your Atlassian home, then you can actually merge this with your Jira project. Also, you have the option for the code, of course. This is where you're going to connect your either GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket coding repositories and do all of the development relevant work, such as committing, pushing the code, merging, and everything else. This is where you're actually having the option to archive the issues. And since we're actually within the team managed project, so yeah, here I still don't have this option to archive the issues, but they're actually still in here, which is really weird. One thing that I wanted to show you is that you can add the options to your navigation bar in here. So you can add the calendar. So the calendar is not being added in here. So calendar is right there. We also have the option to add the issues, which is something that we are probably gonna need. And yeah, those things. So add to navigation. So these are the things that we can add to our navigation. Another thing that you can do is first you can remove some of the things from your navigation. Pages, if I don't need pages, I'm not gonna need them. If I'm not using the code, I can remove it. If I'm not using the goals, I can remove it. If I'm not using this, I can remove it as well. If I want my board to be shown as first, I can do that as well. What else I want to be? It's like I want to have my board and my calendar. Then I want to see, let's say, my issues are gonna go here, shortcuts, and also I want to have some of the releases in here. So that is the thing that you can actually do with this navigation, where basically you can either add or remove things from your navigation. The big question is now, okay, where are my project settings? Your project settings are here now. So, and also, if you have noticed on the bottom left, well, basically you cannot actually see that it's not actually showing you if this is either a company managed or team managed project, because and this might be confusing for the users if they haven't know and if they didn't know this. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But also I can add this to the start. What I can actually do is I can add people from these three dots in here. which is actually pretty interesting. You're kind of saving the number of clicks in here. And in here, as you can see, it's saying that basically this is a software project and this is indeed a team managed project. So it's telling you what kind of template this is and what kind of project type this is as well. All right, so when we actually click on the project settings in here, there are no really changes to this. Basically, pretty much all the things are the same. Automation rules, yeah, everything else. Now for the issue types, if you would click this, it will lead you to a complete new page where you would actually have the option to go for the issue types and change the layout. But this can actually be done from this point of view. You can also go ahead if you want to add new issue type in here, for example, bug. And when I add the bug, and it goes like pretty smoothly, and it goes, let's say, pretty faster, right? So these are the features that you can also add. But as you saw from the navigation itself, this is something that you can add as well. Okay, so for the projects, what I'm going to be doing in here is I'm going to go with my Kanban project. I'm going to be using the template. As you can see, Atlassian didn't really update this part right here because the icons are the older icons and the icons have changed. All right, so what I'm going to say here, I'm going to say company managed. All right, so I'm going to create a project. And so now we're going to be seeing this. How is this going to be appearing for the company managed projects? Well, first of all, as you can see in here, what we're having is we have option to actually create a board. And when I create a board, voila. Now we have option to either add a Scrum board. And this is a pretty interesting thing because this now is like, oh, what do I want to include in here? So I can create this, which this can be like confusing really. Show all issues assigned to a team, issues based on an issue type, and then it's going like for the story, and then it's like going for task and everything else, and then new board, and the new board is actually being created. But as you can see, this new board is now for some reason, yeah, okay, I created a Scrum one. And in order for me to actually see what is going on more in here, I would go, oh no, I'm having the board settings. Okay. And within the board settings, okay, within the board setting, this is what I can actually see. The name of the board, what are the filter details, and everything else. Okay, interesting. I also have working days, estimations, what are the timeline, and the issue layout. So the issue layout goes here, but when I go for my project settings, I can see my project settings actually starting from here. So I also have the option to actually see the summary, and this is how it actually looks like from the summary itself. There is, of course, option for the permissions. And of course, for the permissions, it's opening a page one by one issues, and I can actually go to types, and it's saying to me what kind of issue types I'm having. What is the real difference between this task icon and between this story icon? I believe that those icons that were actually present before, they were, in my opinion, they were better because you would actually know, okay, I'm having this for the story and everything else. And sure, you can actually change now you can change the icons. Right, so yeah, this is my Kanban board that I'm actually having in here. So this is my issue. And if you actually don't hover over this, you would actually think that, oh, this is actually a story. this is actually a task, but the reality is this actually isn't a task. The interesting thing that you can actually do from here is you can change your status. You can actually change your status in here. When you're doing this, you can change your status from the columns. So I can go ahead, change the status, and it goes from selected to development, or I can do it in the old-fashioned way. Right, so a lot of like new stuff in here. So now the question is, okay, how do I browse for my project? So I click in here, it says view all projects. Now, interesting thing is that like a new action has been added now, where besides a move to trash and archive, I also have the option to go for the project settings. So which is something that is indeed interesting. Okay, so yeah, I can actually collapse this, and these are my like recent projects that I was seeing, which is like I'm saying, which is interesting thing. Okay, so now we are having filters, right? And I click on this, it's saying search for the issues, right? Okay, save the filter. If I want to go basic or I want to go with the JQL, I can actually do this with the JQL. But I can click to view all of the filters. Let's see for more of the actions. I have the option to actually copy the filter, which is interesting. And I can change the owner of the filter. That was already there, nothing really new. I can actually, yeah, you can expand and you can collapse this, which is interesting. And now, what you can actually do in here, you can hide some of the stuff from your sidebar. For example, I don't care about the plants, let's say. Okay, they can be hidden. Ah, so the blue one actually needs to appear here. Yeah, themes, don't care about that at all. And I can now change this, right? So, and it's saying only you can see these changes. So let's say that as an admin, I have some of the things, start things. If I'm used to kind of start things and stuff like that, I don't. To be honest, I don't really use it. But we have this filters, dashboards, and apps. I'm gonna click on save, and voila! Now I'm only focused on these things right here. I have much more less stuff that I need to worry about. So there is also an option to manage the projects, and when you actually go to manage the projects, well, now you also have the option in here to create a project. There are project categories as well. This is what Jira admins can actually add, not your project administrators. And there is also for the archiving and also for the trash. So not a lot of changes that were actually happening in here, really. So in some ways it can actually help you, in some ways it can actually confuse you, but overall, yeah, there is like more. And when you click more, you get the other options from there that you hide from your left sidebar. I can actually say that this left sidebar is much more, let's say, simplified, but this, when I'm creating, I don't know, a Kanban board, right? Kanban board. And it's saying like, okay, choose what you want to include in here. Before you had the options Scrum, you have Kanban, you have the option to create even some of the project with the sample data. This is actually pretty cool because you can practice with that. I don't know why it seems that that is not in there still. And it's saying choose what you want to include in board and saying all the issues from your project. So basically this means if you already have this board that is having all the issues, that means you're basically copying that. Showing the issues that are assigned to a team. Yeah, I understand this, but the team function, the team feature is not being used too much. I haven't seen that at all. And then you have the issues to be shown on a specific label, or or the show issues from the save filter, and then you can actually create it. Okay, interesting. Huh. But how do you actually create, let's say, a completely new board, or how do you actually create that new board that has that has the default filter that has been applied for each and every board in there? Now, depending, you have the Kanban and you have the Scrum, but mostly of them, it's that project, and then it's ordered by the ascending order. So I don't know. It seems like that part doesn't actually really work. But let's see. If I click on this, so this is what I'm having, but this and this is completely the same. So it's not like I'm having something new, right? And okay. And as you can see, the board settings that I used to be here, it's not there yet. So you just need to click on here, and then you go for the board settings, which could be misleading for the users. But yeah, I assume if you go here, issues, advanced, label all issues from your project, and if you go with that, then what it's going to do for the Scrum is going to include in your backlog the issues from these boards right here. Huh. Okay. Interesting. I mean, that is really interesting for the boards, right? Because the change is huge, really. And yeah, I think that this is enough to actually know what is going on. And yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. See ya. Bye.